Corporate Scientology is a wealthy enterprise with billions of dollars to protect. After a 30-year battle with corporate Scientology, even the IRS gave in and granted tax-exempt status as a church. Before that, the government's position was Scientology is a business. And regardless of one's feelings about whether or not corporate Scientology should be regarded or recognized as a church, and that's debated a lot today, it's safe to say that its non-religious side is unlike that of any church that any of us would be familiar with. It has a disciplined group on the corporate side of agents who are responsible for scorched earth litigation and dirty tricks operations. This group is called the Office of Special Affairs, or OSA. It spends millions of dollars annually with the goal of destroying or neutralizing perceived enemies, such as Ms. Rathbun.
Your Honor, could we approach?
Yes, sir.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
There's one piece of historical evidence that is well documented in numerous books, histories of the church, etc., and that is absolutely critical to understanding the defendant's tangled web of corporate structures. And that is the fact that when the Office of Special Affairs was called the Guardian's Office, you'll hear about that in this case, it committed the single largest secret infiltration of the United States government in American history. Fortunately for American citizens and taxpayers, they were caught by the FBI. This was called Operation Snow White. nearly a dozen Scientology agents went to federal prison. This is not any kind of a secret thing I'm letting the court in on. This is well documented. In fact, one of the Scientologists who went to federal prison was Mary Sue Hubbard, the wife of Scientology's founder. Scientology's founder, L. Ron Hubbard, narrowly avoided.
Your Honor, I'll object. What's the relevance of this?
I'm about to explain, Your Honor.
With regard to alleged acts against Ms.
Yep.
Rathbun, why are we going into things that are back in the 70s?
May I respond?
Well,
Your Honor.
I appreciate that. This is opening statement. So
Yes, Your Honor.
try to keep it to
I
the-
simply recited some facts. They might be surprising or startling facts to people who are unfamiliar, but I literally just repeated the facts that are out there in the world, which is that the Guardian's office was caught.
One at a time, please.
I think the real issue here is just this is an opening statement.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jeffrey, if we can just kind of get to the, I'm understanding there's that web, and that the web is extensive.
Okay.
Both extent and history.
I'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, he's playing to the media. It's irrelevant to any of the injunctive elements that's before this court, and he's doing it purposefully. He's attempting to get in confidential information. Now he's getting.
I understand. I mean, he is zealously representing his client, as I trust you will as well. And I know that we're not in front of a jury. And
we are in front of the media, Judge, and that's the reason we're here. And he's doing it purposefully. It's not relevant. It is an opening statement, but it's supposed to be what the evidence will show. And when we get to the point where it's evidence, what we show, there's going to be a relevance objection, and it's not relevant.
Your Honor, I'm trying to tell the court what is the relevance, and he keeps jumping up and objecting.
well, I think it will probably help if we can, as best possible, avoid the argumentative type language in our opening statement. So,
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
trying to give everybody their due. So.
Okay. The evidence will show, Your Honor, that after the Guardian's Office affair, a major project occurred in corporate Scientology, which was how do we keep doing the same activities that we did before, but protecting ourselves from further liabilities. And that's how you come up to today.
Judge,
They,
the only way he could know this is if he has attorney-client communication.
Your Honor, there are
only
numerous
way
books
he
you
could
can
know
read this
that.
in. It's out there.
Okay.
This is, Your Honor, this is well documented in the media, in history books.
It's our concern about the privilege issue. It's concern about the disqualification issue. We cannot address this without the motion to disqualify being heard. And you asked him to not go into confidential.
Well, I haven't
There
heard
is
it yet.
none.
I mean, I haven't heard anything more than generalities at the moment. So, at the moment, I'm overrule the.
I'm trying to move on, Your Honor. What the evidence will show in the case is that from the days of the old Guardian's office, they created a new structure called the Office of Special Affairs. Nothing secret about this, nothing I've learned of attorney-client privilege about this. The purpose of this change in the corporate structure was to shield from liabilities. And the court, this is directly germane to what the court is going to have to do in this case. Is this an effective shield or is it not? Is it a sham? In the testimony, we'll give details about all of this, Your Honor. Out of deference to the court, I'm skipping over a few things here. So let's get down to the issue that I talked about at the beginning, which is, what will the battleground in this case be? I have not heard Mr. Schreiber, when he stood up, say that they're going to admit the Church of Scientology International and the Religious Technology Center and David Miscavige that, yes, we did all this stuff to Mrs. Rathbun. They're not going to admit that. That is going to be our burden to prove that. The evidence will be that Mr. Miscavige, in spite of this elaborate corporate structure set up, he rules and runs all phases of the Scientology corporations with absolute authority. They take the position, and you'll hear about it, that he is merely the chairman of the board of the Religious Technology Center, which is not supposedly an operational wing of the various Scientology corporations. Supposedly, the Religious Technology Center is completely uninvolved in the management of the different Scientology entities. The evidence will be that in spite of this seemingly hands-off position of chairman of the board of this one entity, Mr. Miscavige runs anything and everything that he cares to run within the various corporations. And there is a key for your honor to understand how this works. And that is, there is a unifying organization that runs through all of the Scientology corporations. It is called the C organization. It's called the C, and that's S-E-A, not like a C corp that lawyers think of. C as in ocean. The C organization runs through all of these corporate entities. And it's called that because it was created by Scientology's founder, L. Ron Hubbard, while he was running Scientology from a fleet of ships in the Mediterranean. Also, Mr. Hubbard had a background in the Navy. So it's the Sea organization, as in the ocean. You'll also hear it referred to for short as the Sea Org. That's how they commonly refer to it. They tend to abbreviate organization into org. The evidence will be that the Sea organization operates with a military discipline and command structure. Members who serve in the Sea Org sign contracts to serve for 1 billion with a B, 1 billion years. Every significant corporation in this network of Scientology, the managers and the executives and the directors are all members of this quasi-military organization called the Sea Org.
If I can interrupt, I mean, just for the purposes of maintaining the status quo of the TR, I mean, if we can...
Yes, sir. I'm concluding.
Thank you.
Because if the court will recall, our basic premise is that there's really one man who has been behind this harassment of Mrs. Miscavige. And that is because David Miscavige is Captain Miscavige. He is the commanding officer of the Sea Org, which actually runs every one of these corporations. He is the commander-in-chief, as L. Ron Hubbard, the founder, was before him. There have only been 2 commanders-in-chief in the history of this organization. His title is literally Captain Miscavige, and that is as in captain of the ship.